The following newscast is based on the wide world of social media. The stories are real. The reporters are really real because they are you, the members of social media. All Facebook names have been abbreviated for user protection. This is the Social News Media Network.
Hello and welcome to the SNM Network, the only weekly newscast reported by you, the wide world of social media. I'm Colin Cosell. Hey, have you been working out? You look great. Seriously, you really do this week. Our top story this week takes us into holiday news as America celebrated the 4th of July. In case you forgot, that's when we commemorate the day Will Smith, Jeff Goldblum, and Bill Pullman saved our asses from aliens. Thanks, Hollywood. Much like setting off fireworks, many people played it safe and celebrated by taking to Twitter while they were still sober. A prime summation comes to us from the delightful bears, with no dingleberries, mind you, over at Charmin, who tweeted, and I'm not kidding about this, "Happy 4th of July!" However, perhaps sobriety evaded Twitter's John Moe as he replied, "Thanks, toilet paper." Come on, John Moe, it wasn't the toilet paper that was tweeting, it was those cartoon bears with clean butts and no shame. Moving on, we continue our Independence Day coverage in San Diego, where a computer malfunction caused the Big Bay Boom fireworks display to prematurely detonate. Many residents were left confused and unfulfilled, but the women seemed to handle it better than the men for some reason. For more on this story, we turn to Imgur Bureau for a little visual aid and a little bit of finger pointing as well. Let's have a look there, John. Wow, according to Imgur's Is Irrelevant, you had one job, Terry. I guess Terry was in charge. That was his name. Although they said it was a computer error, named Terry, we preferred the explanation of Reddit's But There Is a Fork, who said, "A cat set that off to scare the absolute shit out of San Diego's dog population." Either way, CNN reported that the show happened exactly as planned. We're not letting you go, CNN. Scientific fireworks also occurred on Independence Day as the elusive Higgs Boson particle was found. The goddamned particle, later shortened to God particle, and that is true, that is the name of the particle, all right, look it up, was theorized over 50 years ago and was finally found by the Large Hadron Collider in Switzerland. Of the announcement, Neil deGrasse Tyson tweeted, "On the day we reserve to tell ourselves America is great, July 4th, Europe reminds us that we suck at science." That's a little rough, and that's only because we spent our time teaching the controversy of whether Jesus or Tyrannosaurus would win in a fight. The answer is not Jesus. Twitter reporter Rob DeBlaker had more details on the implications with, "Just explained the Higgs boson to my friend, even though I don't understand it. He was very convinced. I bet this is how religions get started." I wonder if it's the Higgs boson that makes Mormon underwear magical. That's the particle in the underwear that does it. Ew, particle in that, that's gross. For those of you who are still confused, Ed Yong209 tweets, "A Higgs boson walks into a bar. The barman doesn't understand." That's the joke. Well, just think of it as something that's vitally important to everything in the universe. Kind of like our show. Yay! We now turn to the unfortunately vital focus on politics, as New Jersey's hot-headed Governor Chris Christie got into a shouting match with a citizen during a routine feeding excursion. Because he's fat. Our Twitter reporter, The Daily Edge, noticed an ongoing trend with the flubberner, as he noted, "Survey, 74% of New Jersey residents have personally been shouted at by Governor Chris Christie. Our own reliable surveyors have found that 98% of those people he shouted at were also eventually eaten. The other 2% just happen to be able to run." Moving on to politicians who can run, or in this case swim, a picture of a semi-submerged Mitt Romney surfaced on the shores of our newsroom over the weekend. And, well, let's just take a look there, John. Yes, of course, there he is. Dun, 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 dun. Naturally, it had to be this week's Ready for Caption! Yay! We begin with Melanie Summers, who captioned, "This dog can barely keep me afloat." Poor Seamus, man, every time. All right, Brian Lundgren added, "Mittens like to indulge, as you could tell by the size of his bathtub." If I had that kind of loot, I'd have a bathtub that big too. And finally, Wade Grayson put a topical spin on it with, "When I said put my money in an offshore account, this is not what I had in mind." Well, at least we don't have to look overseas for our diligent workers to be ready for Caption! Yay! While our love for political prodding may never come to an end, the lives of celebrities often do, and it's usually on a weekly basis on this show. And it's with that certain dignity and respect you've come to expect from us, we beg you to... Guess who died? Yay! The answers are, of course, famed entertainers Andy Griffith and Ernest Borgnine. Twitter's Ike Barinholtz put a personal spin on the losses with, they always come in threes. Ernest Borgnine, Andy Griffith, my iPhone battery... Oh, Ike, such a shame that we'll never know what that third one was, but at least now we won't have to. Guess who died? Wait, we've received word of another loss. It seems that Norman Sass, the inventor of the tabletop electric football game, has also passed on. His final inspiring words were... Touchdown, Snugglehorse style. Sorry, Norman. We now turn to entertainment news as the new Spider-Man movie received lesser reviews than the Katy Perry movie. Rotten Tomatoes, fact. Nevertheless, our social media reporters began brainstorming plots for Spidey sequels. Witstream's Gary Shapiro had his own spin with, in the next Spider-Man reboot, Peter Parker is bitten by a radioactive hipster, which turns all his photos horribly yellow. We would use a hipster joke here, but it's a really obscure reference, and he probably wouldn't get it. I got mine on vinyl. In other news comes a story of yet another promoted hashtag on Twitter gone wrong. Once again, it was fast food giant McDonald's attempting to trend Spicy McBites. John, do you know what Spicy McBites are made of?
It says here, pink slime and orphan's tears.
Jesus Christ, John. I don't think that's right. Let's see if we can get some insight from our Twitter porters instead. Bad John. We start off with Ruth Bourdain, who questions the origin of the hashtag. In her tweet, wasn't Spicy McBites the name Bobby Flay used when he was a stripper? Well, we contacted the research department at CNN and confirmed that yes it was. We learned something tonight. This did not end the speculation as reporter DJ Rotary Rachel, I'm sorry, I had to do that for a minute, observed in her tweet, Spicy McBites sounds like a Scottish drag queen. You know, it's been a rough week for the Scots. I mean, Andy Murray lost in Wimbledon. Kourtney Kardashian named her baby Penelope Scotland. Can we just back off of them? Anyway, it was reporter Pat Healy who gave us the correct McDefinition. In his tweet, Spicy McBites is what a leprechaun calls chlamydia. Those damn promiscuous leprechauns are always after me burning Lucky Charms, which is my new name for genitalia. Okay, from tiny burning crotches to large burning countries, we now turn to weather. It was another week of brutal heat in the U.S., with AccuWeather real field temperatures exceeding somewhere around 963 degrees in all 57 states. That was a Fox News report, wasn't it?
Yes.
Okay. Anyway, Twitter reporter Mr. Fornicator, great name, found an upside and a downside to the heat wave in his tweet. The nice thing about these high temperatures is how many women dress so skimpy. The bad thing is how many women dress so skimpy. Certainly gives a new definition to juicy couture. Gross. And finally, in weather, we came across the following picture of a high-flying young man trying to beat the heat. Let's take a look at it here, John. That's a tried and true thing, jumping through the hydrant. Well, we decided to open the Photoshop floodgates in a new segment we like to call I Want to Shop! Shop! That just happened. Our first installment comes from someone who calls himself Chubby Cougar and labeled his work Cool Runnings. Let's take a look. It makes you wonder if it's the dog that's fueling the hydrant. Anyway, up next was Twitter's Stuart CSC, who took the kid for a ride. That looks like fun. And finally, our very own SNM super crew put a patriotic spin on the young man with the following. And, okay, that's very revolutionary. And, of course, this one right here for San Diego. Oh, damn it, Terry! Full circle. Well, that's going to do it for this week's SNM Network broadcast. Be sure to tune in next week on socialnewsmedia.net to get the best news coverage around. And if you'd like to be a reporter or contributor, please follow us on Twitter and Facebook. For all of us at the SNM Network, I'm Colin Cosell, reminding you to watch what you say, because we are.